Hi students, now we are present here to learn about the poem Childhood by Marcus Nathan. We should take the first stanza of the poem, When Did My Childhood Go? In the first line, the poet wants to say that he wants to know the time, the age, the stage when he has lost his childhood. Was it the day I ceased to be 11? Perhaps it was the time when the poet became he has reached at the age of the 11. Was it the time I realized that hell and heaven could not be found in geography and therefore could not be? Was that the day? And he searched about the second point. First, at the age of the 11, and the second, he thinks about those places which is described in the stories of the childhood, hell and heaven. And when he found that there is no place in real, into the map of the world, into the books of the geography, there is no place of such as hell and heaven. When he thinks with logic, when he thinks with rationality, perhaps it will be the time when he has lost his childhood, his innocence. In the first stanza, the poet realizes that that was the time when he uses his logic, he lost his childhood. Into the second stanza, we should take When Did My Childhood Go? Was it the time I realized that adults were not all they seem to be? In the second stanza, the poet thinks, when did my childhood go? Perhaps at that time when the poet realizes that adults, the elder person of the family, the elder person of the relatives, the elder persons of the community and society, which words they say and what actions they do, they doesn't match. They have a great difference. They say that we should love each other, we should speak the truth, we should help each other, but in real they don't do so. So the difference between the actions and the words of the elders make the poet to lose his innocence. When he realizes that the truth is another things, they show he lost his childhood. All they seem to be, they talked of love and preached of love, but did not act so lovingly. What was the day? The poet realizes in the second stanza that was perhaps the time when he thinks the reality of the world, the reality of the persons, the actions of the persons, the wordings of the persons, they have a great difference. When he thinks this logically, perhaps he has lost his innocence. Now we should take the third stanza of the poem. When did my childhood go? Was it when found my mind was really mine? The poet realizes another step of his life. Perhaps it will be the time when he uses his own mind and his freedom, his liberty to do anything, to think anything, to think differently, to think in his own way. Perhaps it will be the time when he uses his own mind in his own way, in his own actions. He lost his innocence. To use whichever way I choose, producing thoughts that were not those of other people but my own and mine alone. When he thinks that the liberty of the things, the liberty of to do anything, the freedom which he thought, thinkings, way of doing any work, if he has the liberty and freedom of using his own minds and his own thoughts in his own ways, perhaps it will be the time that he loses his innocence of the childhood. In the third stanza, he wants to understand the reason of that losing of his childhood, that the liberty of the freedom or thinking. Now we should take the last stanza. Where did my childhood go? It went to some forgotten place that's hidden in an infant's face. That's all I know. In the first, second, and third stanza, he describes कि when did my childhood go? He wants to know the time of losing of his childhood. But in the last stanza, he he thinks into a different way. Where did my childhood go? And that he wants to know the place, not time, not place. Where did my childhood go? It went to some forgotten places. Perhaps it is not found into the word, it is not found into the logic, it is not found into the thinking, it is not found into the actions and words of the elders, it is not found in the liberty of the thinkings, but it is forgotten into the some unknown places that's hidden in an infant face. And when the poet sees and looks to a small child, little baby's face, then he realizes that the reality is different. His childhood transforms into the innocent smile of a little baby. That's all I know. And the poet has known that when and where his childhood goes, into the innocent smile of a little baby, into the beautiful face, into the innocence of the face of a little baby. His childhood, his innocence has been transformed. That's it. Thanks.